Most of the time when we talk about injuries, it's all about prevention. Strength training, mobility work, slow mileage buildups. But what happens when the thing that we're trying to avoid becomes a reality? Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to do a deep dive into a tough topic for runners, but something that is pretty inevitable unless you are Superman. And even if you are Superman, it's inevitable, and that is injuries. So this video is going to be a little different than my previous videos. I have a really easy time writing thoughts, and so I have a blog, so I will take my blog about the topic. So like today is all about what to do when you're injured. Take that topic, write the blog, get a script, and then I'll memorize the script and record it. That's what I did for previous videos. What I'm going to try in this video is, instead of memorizing the script, I'm going to take each scene, just be like, okay, this is the topic. I'm just going to talk about it for 30 seconds or a minute, and just whatever comes out, and we'll just try it from there. And so that's how this video is going to go, and we'll see how it all comes together in the end. So let me know down in the comments what kind of format you like better. Do you like me just kind of memorizing words so it's more concise and to the point, or do you like this more just flowy, kind of go with the day and see what comes out kind of approach? Let me know. And with that, we'll jump back in. It's actually an ironic time to video this episode, because I woke up this morning with a cough and have been feeling a little of the chills and aches. So I think it hit me. I caught whatever's going around, which is ironic because today we're talking about how to handle being injured, but it's the same thing of how to handle being sick. So this whole block, I've dealt with a couple injuries. I've pulled my back twice, and I've had a little tenderness in my Achilles, and now I'm sick. And we're going to jump into all of those different things, how I'm handling being injured, how I'm handling continuing to train, and just talk about the realities of life. Most of these injuries and the sickness, they had nothing to do with my running, but here we are. And so that's what today's video is all about. But first, do you know what has been proven to be injury-free since the year 2005? The subscribe and the like button. They help out the channel tremendously, and as far as I know, no one has ever gotten hurt pressing those buttons. So, what are you waiting for? With that, let's get back to talking about how to handle running injuries. Alright, so for the first injury that I encountered in this block, we have to go zoom way back out to September when Helene hit Western North Carolina, which is where we live. Our house, thank God, was okay, but we did have a tree fall in our yard. So I'm going to show you where the tree was. So the tree was like right there. I'll try and overlay it under the screen and you can see where it was. But this is what's left over from the tree. You can see it extends all the way over there. Now you might be asking, what does that have to do with running? Well, after things kind of settled, we finally were able to get our hands on a brand new chainsaw. And so here's our chainsaw. It's really pretty and cool. I would turn it on and give a cool sound effect right now, but honestly I feel really awful and have a headache, and I think pulling on this cable would really suck. Maybe I'll just overlay like brum, 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 brum. That probably was stupid. My training was going strong and really good, and I finally had a long run up to 15 miles, went out and did that, and then spent the entire afternoon after church chainsawing this tree and moving everything across the yard, which went great. And now the tree is not in our side yard, which is fantastic. Until the next morning. I woke up the next morning and my back was just shot to pieces. I had never experienced that before. This was like the kind of hurt that you're like, this isn't right. This isn't supposed to hurt like this. And so that was injury number one. And that took time to recover and was a huge downer because I was just ramping up training. And then I hurt my back. And then we headed into the holidays, which eventually led to me hurting my Achilles a little bit, but that went away with some strength training. And so then, to fast forward again, I went to the gym to do some deadlifts and did one lift, much lighter than before I hurt my back. And I started to lift and I just felt this like pop. And right in my lower back, right in the middle, and it was the kind of pop that I was like, nope, that's not right. I have felt that pop in my calf before, and I knew that that wasn't going to end well. That was a little over a week ago, and we are back to full training, and then I just got sick. So that is the really quick what can go wrong in a training block. That's kind of the story of what's going on, and now we're going to jump into kind of how I handled it mentally, physically, adapting the plan, that kind of the lessons that I've learned from all these different setbacks. So let's go back inside because it's cold and I'm sick. So the hardest part about facing an injury as a runner is actually knowing whether it's an injury or not and whether you should push through. Sometimes tendons and ligaments, muscles, they can be a little tender, a little sore. But if you apply a lot of the preventative techniques that you can learn anywhere on the internet, and we'll talk about at some point too. But if you're doing strength training, you're doing mobility, a lot of times they'll just go away and you can continue with your training and move on. Other times, if you keep pushing, it doesn't really get worse until it does. And so, for example, I felt some tenderness in my Achilles, and I could keep pushing, and I could keep training, and I might even be able to train hard through the marathon, but it's a risk. It's what happens if I really injure it. I might be out of running for up to 6 weeks, but you get what I mean is that I could push through, and maybe it'll go away, or I could push through, and it'll get really worse. And so there's a fine balance of kind of learning how to listen to your body, because a lot of times in the middle of training, your body's going to be screaming, don't get up, don't go on that run, don't do this, you're in pain, whatever. And so listening and saying, am I just sore? And it's just like, I'd rather comfort, or should I actually listen to my body this time and take some needed recovery? And so for me, when I first injured my back, I just tried to listen to my body, and I learned my back is more sore after really intense workouts or after long runs. And so with that, I had to pivot. So I shifted my focus. I said, okay, easy runs, they're okay. So I focused on maintaining mileage, but lowering the intensity. I did a ton of easy runs, and I kind of cut out and adapted out harder efforts and long runs. I also started incorporating a lot of cross training, and I found out that stationary biking, which was kind of my cross training of choice when I started this block, that leaning over on the bike actually hurt my back. So I switched to the recumbent bike. And then eventually, I think it was my wife's idea, I started doing incline walking on the treadmill, and found that actually got my heart rate up higher than the recumbent bike, and it was a little bit more similar to running muscle-wise. And so I replaced 2 or 3 recovery run days with incline walking, with the purpose of saying I want to prioritize my key workouts, my tempo runs and my track workouts and my long runs with marathon paced efforts and my medium long runs. I want to be able to do those without making things worse. And I find that the incline walking really helps me kind of continue to get some mileage on my legs, but keeps me fresh for those important key workouts. One of the tricks that I've learned in this block that really helps with the mental game is if I have a specific workout on the schedule and the day of or during the workout I'm like, nope, I can't do this. I often in the day feeling like I failed the workout. However, if I smartly adapt the plan and move things around the day before or the week of, then all of a sudden when I hit that adapted workout, it's the workout on the schedule. And I can finish it and know that I accomplished the plan. And it's a really simple little switch. It's the workout I end up doing would be the same either way, but it's the mental aspect of, hey, I adapted this plan and I accomplished it. And that, for me, has just been a really big, mental trick to helping handle being injured, continuing to train, and to know that I'm making progress towards my goals. When do you actually adapt? I mentioned earlier it's hard, right? It's hard to know, am I just being lazy or does my body actually need to recover? And so it's important to be able to listen to your body, your aches and pains, but, I have a Garmin watch, so Apple Watch, Coros, whatever you have. I find that the data that you capture, especially sleep data and your resting heart rate, very important. So when I see my resting heart rate go up 2 or 3 beats a minute, I know maybe something's up, maybe I need to recover a little bit more. The other stat I look at is the HRV status. And full disclosure, I don't know too much of the science behind what HRV does, but I know from experience that when it's out of whack, I usually need to recover more. Look at this thing. Look at that. That's a whole cat. Go on. All of these things factor into, maybe I'm starting to get sick. Maybe I'm starting to develop an injury and my body's trying to tell me. These, I find, are kind of early signs that often lead to something else.
I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work like I got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me.
I go into these blogs wanting to give light into my running journey, how training's going, but also the lessons I'm learning about running. And then when I do that and I lay it out, I always think about, how do these running lessons apply to the rest of life? And if I had to summarize, the big key I've learned in this block is how to adapt. And adapting extends way beyond just the running world. Our life plans never go 100% according to plan. It doesn't matter how much you plan, something will probably go awry at some point. And being able to adapt to those issues is a really important life skill. Because if something goes wrong, I think you kind of have two choices. You can either let it destroy you, or you can choose to adapt and say, okay, that didn't work, but how can we move forward? What are the goals that we're working towards, and either redefine the goal or redefine the path towards the goal. For those that put your faith in Jesus Christ, we know that our plans always fall short compared to God's plans. And so part of adapting is just trusting in God. That's the big thing I've learned in this running lesson this week, or this block, is just adapting. Say hello to Lucy. This is the Lucy dog. Hello, Lucy. Yep, you're a dog. So, I don't know why I'm holding a shoe, but So whether you're dealing with an injury or a setback in life, I hope that this video is informative in some way or helpful in some way. Let me know down in the comments, what is the biggest lesson you've learned from a setback? And thank you for watching. And until next time, run with joy.
Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning.
But first...
are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower, scream until you're louder.